Askreddit School with Mr. GreatStory. What did the popular kid at your school do to go from cool to an absolute outcast? The most popular kid in my middle school was this big Samoan dude. He looked like he was 13 going on 25 years old. I remember he gained a lot of popularity when he serenaded this girl in class to ask her to the dance. He had music playing on his iPhone and he started belting out love songs while on bended knee. Later on that year he went from hero to zero when we found out he'd been molesting his sister. Semi-popular, kinda preppy kid. He tried to kill his parents by pouring vodka around their bed at night and setting it on fire because they took his CDs away. Joined a gang, moved up the ranks, ordered the firebombing of a rival gang member's house. Dude wasn't home, but his 4 little brothers and sisters were. None of them made it out of the house. He'll be in federal lockup until the day he dies. He got a bad haircut, was teased for it, and threw a temper tantrum. He literally stormed out in the middle of class. He lost his spot as king bully after that. She was pretty and fairly popular, and near the end of the school year told everyone she had cancer. We were approaching the end of grade 7 at the time. Eventually, literally everyone knew. Teachers, other parents, other grades, etc. And it kind of united everyone who wasn't typically friends, and that was kind of cool. Until one day, maybe a week or two in, a pair of girlfriends go to visit her at her parents' house and they bring it up and discover it was a hoax. She pissed off a lot of people and lost all her friends after that. Gained new ones eventually, but what a goddamn weird thing to lie about. Known party girl at my school was texting while driving. She hit and killed someone crossing the street. Her father was a sergeant in the police department. She went to jail for 6 months and then had to do probation/community service. Not quite sure what happened after the fact. She deleted everything tied to her. This was 2 days after high school graduation. Pulled out a knife and slashed another student. Kid with the knife went to outcast status. The kid that got slashed became super cool and had a scar. Everyone wanted to see it. Guy got accused of rape at a party and nobody believed the girl, and people spread vicious rumors about her and sided with him. The whole thing seemed like everyone viewed him as a victim, and he played himself up that way. Until, a few months later, another girl said she had been raped by him at a party, and multiple other people at the party saw her hysterically crying and bruised afterward. There were not so many people supporting him after that. There was a girl that was the popular girl in school. She had all the friends and even put out an album. She was a total star locally. One day we were taking standardized tests and she runs out of the room and doesn't return. When we left the class there was green diarrhea all over the floor just down the hall from the classroom. Poor girl didn't make it to the bathroom in time. She didn't return to the school that school year and moved to another town/school completely after that. She married a famous NFL player and is one of these Instagram PPL now, so she bounced back from a shitty situation pretty well. He got drunk and finger banged a sheep at an outdoor party. He spent the next 3 years as the sheep fucker. Edit. Everyone assumes he was Welsh or from New Zealand. This was upstate New York. Graduated high school. He turned into that 30-year-old dude that still hasn't gotten over high school. She was hired to dog sit for a neighbor when they went out of town. She decided to take advantage of the empty house and throw a party at the neighbor's house. That got out of hand. The neighbor's daughter also went to the school and had to deal with a messed up house. Pretty big deal, and the popular girl never came back. Wholesome for once, I guess. All popular kids in my school were complete dickheads that bullied others. This fella, king of the hill, starts dating a girl from another school that was friends with one of the bullied kids. The kid told the girl what her boyfriend does in that school, so the girl threatened to break up with him if he didn't change his ways. He stopped socializing with the cool folks and started getting bullied by them, and none of the other kids wanted to warm up to him. He was a loner at school, but he made his GF happy, and he was happy. Crack. He and his couple friends started smoking crack senior year of high school. They got quarantined to themselves. Ran into one of them a couple weeks ago. He kept trying to get me back to their apartment to do meth. accidentally left a video of himself sticking stuff up his ass on a phone that he sold to another student. I never saw him again after that. He was popular because he was a rebel that talked back to teachers and insulted them openly. He became an outcast because he made the teacher everyone loved to cry. Killed an infant in a car accident, completely shut down during the senior year, wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. I had a cousin who died as a very small child because she walked out from behind 2 parked cars into the street out front of a church. A young man was driving to church and accidentally killed her. He never drove again. Ruined his whole life. Poor guy. I remember in middle school the popular kid asked out the most unpopular girl and then embarrassed her in front of everybody by breaking up with her and laughing in her face about how she could think it was real. It was really sad, and I remember her being really into high school TV shows, and I think she really wanted to be popular, like she hoped life would be like a Disney show or something. IDK what happened to him, but I remember everyone kind of being like dude, and he moved a bit later. In high school, the popular kids weren't necessarily bullies. They weren't super welcoming into their circle to invite everyone to parties and stuff, but they weren't total bullies, at least that I know of. They were just good at sports and attractive pretty much. Got hit by a train. Everyone cared about him until he got out of the hospital and wasn't the same mentally from head trauma. All the other popular kids mock him and have him blocked on social media to this day. Got an 8th grade girl pregnant while he was a junior in high school. He transferred out because everyone hated him so much. Well, everyone else grew up. He didn't and doesn't seem to want to. Now it's everyone else's fault 10 years later. He got drunk and killed a family of 4 in a car accident. Well, the popular girl at my school tried to ruin the life of a really sweet girl because of boyfriend drama. When she realized people were standing up for the sweet girl instead, she lost her mind, accusing the other girl and her boyfriend of property damage, turning on anyone who didn't swear loyalty to her, turning people against one another, screaming at teachers. It was a mess. The nail in the coffin was when she confided to me and to others that she was planning to put laxatives in the pastries she baked for the class. Obviously I let people know, and she became completely ostracized. She left at the end of junior year, and senior year was the most chill year ever. I don't blame you for letting people know. You can't let that shit slide. Continue to watch. The best is still to come. She tried to manipulate all her friends and pit them against each other with a bunch of catty lies. Well, that in combination with wearing her pageant sash and crown to school for like a week. All girls school. Guy got caught with a bunch of heroin in the trunk of his car on school grounds and was over 18 as a senior. I never saw or heard about him after that, but I'm guessing it didn't go well for him. Sent his girlfriend's naked pics to the whole school. Wow, what a scumbag. The worst part of it was the excuse he gave. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to send it to everyone. Just a couple guys from the basketball team. He ended up switching schools. This kid in middle school used to talk shit to everyone. He had nice stuff his parents got him and everyone thought he was tough and could fight until one day he started on a special needs kid. Nobody had ever actually seen the popular kid fight. He just was excellent at intimidation. Now a lot of the special needs kids in my area weren't just students who were mentally challenged, but had overall learning disabilities. Many of those kids came from very tough homes, and the special needs kid whom the popular kid messed with was an absolute savage. He grew up in a pretty tough part of town, but was really a gentle giant. He could play football, he was muscular, he could do everything the regular students could do except speak properly. A minor speech impediment. The popular kid challenged him to a one-on-one fight and got his ass kicked by the special needs kid. I'm talking blood everywhere. His clothes got ripped. One of his sneakers landed like 10 feet away. And to top it all off, he even tried running away after the first few punches. The special needs kid grabbed him and pulled him back. It was a massacre. The popular kid not only lost all of his influence, but didn't even have the guts to come back to school for like a week. If I ever saw instant karma, it would have had to have been on this day, because he was quiet as a mouse the rest of the years through high school. There was a popular cheerleader at my school that was in a bad car wreck and she suffered severe brain damage. The day she came back to some of her friends, aka the popular kids, sat with her at lunch. Every day after that though, they sat on the other side of the cafeteria in their normal spot and she was with the other special needs students. They would walk past her without saying a word. As far as everyone knew, her entire group of friends completely abandoned her. I don't think she missed them though, so silver lining, she seemed to be very happy most of the time after the accident. Not so much before. This was in the mid-late 80s, and every teen movie with a bunch of shitty preppies pretty much accurately depicts the popular kids in my HS. Killed 2 university students while drunk driving, and then complained because she wouldn't be able to go to the bar and get drunk on her 18th birthday. How shallow and narcissistic do you have to be to pull this shit? Fucking hell. There's someone further up who killed a kid entirely by accident and went into self-imposed isolation because of the guilt. The best answer to this happens between elementary and middle school. Our elementary was small and we fed into a middle school with a much bigger school. Think 20% of us and 80% of them. The most popular kid showed up on the first day after only knowing what it's like to be the coolest kid in the small school and tried to start shit with some random kid who was with 11 of his friends to show how cool and top dog he was to everyone, I guess. Yeah, those 12 guys beat him up and then made fun of him for years. He wasn't cool anymore. Just that fast. By high school, nobody cared anymore, but he was never really popular again. He hooked up with 2 of his friends' girlfriends. They ditched him after that. Edit. People are asking why the girls went along with it. This was high school, and there was a lot of partying and alcohol. No excuses, but for a lot of people, it was their first time getting drunk and completely wasted. Edit 2. One guy dumped his girlfriend for cheating, but the other one didn't. I guess it was because she was his first love and childhood sweetheart, so he forgave her. Our star football player lost his full-ride football scholarship to LSU after beating his girlfriend into a coma. It's been like 8 years, but if memory serves correctly he didn't end up going to prison or juvie because they lack sufficient evidence. He eventually got expelled from our school because it had a zero tolerance policy for fighting, and one of his girlfriend's friends called him out for beating her while in the hallway. He didn't like being confronted and tried to beat the shit out of the guy calling him out. Edit. Oh shit, this sorta blew up. Finally remember the guy's name. There weren't any news articles directly about the incident in question. According to everything I could find, he got a lawyer very quickly and got the charges reduced. He got picked up by another major school, not a winning one, but certainly a big one. He underperformed his freshman year and a newer recruit way outperformed him his sophomore year, so he transferred to a much smaller school. As far as I can tell he did not come anywhere close to going pro. Oh. Also, I couldn't find out what happened to his girlfriend. I'm sorry. My school doesn't really have popular people. Everyone just kinda has their friends. Some people have more than others, but it's not like a social hierarchy. However, this one girl did something that, rightfully, destroyed her reputation. So basically this girl, that was pretty well liked, asked out this boy that no one ever expected her to ask out. It was unexpected because he was less well known, but in general, everyone liked him. They had a cute relationship for about 2 months. He started sitting with her friends at lunch and was becoming closer with them. Well, one of the girl's friends found out she was cheating on him. She told the boy and her friends, and he was really upset about it. When the girl found out people knew the truth, she said she was only dating him for answers on homework and that she never actually liked him. Once it got around, no one really looked at her the same. She tried to talk shit about him and the friend that exposed her a few times, but she was either ignored or totally shut down. This year she's not at our school and no one misses her. There was a guy that was pretty popular. He got really drunk at a party and totally didn't know where he was. He pulled down his pants, squatted, and totally started to poop. He moved away immediately. He was a senior, and I was in 8th grade. That was well over 25 years ago. Well, he friended me on Facebook a couple of months ago, and I kinda recognized him. I racked my brain and it came to me, the guy who pooped at the party. Poor guy. Girl in my middle school was really popular, but she was also super nice. I was a total outcast with a lot of problems, but she was the only person who ever treated me like a normal human being. She came out as bisexual and got bullied so badly she had to move schools. Got blamed for a drive-by. Basically, it was a star track and field sprinter and jumper as well as a football player. Nice guy too, a rather typical jock type, but he got along well with virtually everyone. He was definitely popular because he was extremely athletically talented though. He took the fall for a murder he didn't commit. Almost everyone knew he was innocent. He was not a violent individual, just tied up with the wrong crowd at the wrong time. He's gonna spend most his natural life behind bars now. A true shame. He had a bright future, and now he's a physically literal outcast from society, albeit not deserving. Drugs. You're the cool kid in 9th grade if you're smoking weed all the time. You're not the cool kid in 12th grade if you're addicted to heroin. Wait. Stoners are cool now. Vastly different from my HS years in the 90s. I and my friends were the potheads and we were definitely looked down upon the entire 5 years of high school. Robbie was a big huge fucking bully. I used to play football with him, watched a coach go full fucking psycho on him, literally kicking him in the ass all the way off the field because he spit on a player and the goddamned gall of it just sent the coach into a fucking rage, and Robbie mocked him the whole way off the field. But when that kid hit you, it was like a fucking freight train. He was always very dumb and angry and fucking rabid. He teased everyone for everything, yet somehow remained pretty popular in the upper echelon because he hit like a beast and won football games. Then one day, it was so fucking weird. He came to school in a sweater with a Nuna-owned button down underneath. He usually came to school in torn t-shirts and basketball shorts and was generally a disheveled mess. He had an older brother Ronnie who never looked like any of that, so we knew he wasn't poor. He was just being Robbie. So this was a big deal, and it was bizarre, and when people asked him what was up with it, he would just say I'm gay now. It was so fucking strange. He did not lose any intensity, but he kept saying, like I'm gay now. I like boys okay, and I want a boyfriend. You wanna geo out? I saw him get genuinely upset with people laughing at him. He'd just scream it's not a joke. I'm fusikin gay you assholes. Nobody knew what to do with it. We were a country school. We had a gay kid. A kid Robbie had bullied. Now Robbie was trying to hang out with him. Nobody wanted to touch that fucking weirdness with a 10-foot pole. We figured the best case scenario the dude had lost a bet. But then he did it the next day, and the next. For months he kept dressing a Robbie version of Preppy and proclaiming his gayness. Pretty sure he got an earring at some point. If I remember correctly, he later recanted all of this and screamed down anyone that brought it up. Maybe it was a legit attempt to come out, but he just Robbied the whole thing up until it was unpalatable. He's in prison now. Edit. This got pretty big. Gonna change a name to mask it a bit more. She dated me. We were in speech and debate together. Both did impromptu, and we would give each other random quotes and stupid cartoons to practice with. Spent a lot of time together because of it. We dated for about 2 days before people mocked her for it, and she bailed on me hard to keep her social status. She never socially recovered from the sin of liking one of the nerds. Thing is though, she then lost all her nerd friends too. He seduced a quiet girl in school. She was really soft-spoken but super nice to everyone. Basically everyone's little sister. She was absolutely beloved by everyone in her year, and he was a year older. He was her first love, and he fucked her once, took her virginity, and then essentially abandoned her. She was devastated by it, and it broke her for the rest of the time she was at school. She went right into her shell and barely spoke to anyone. When he started bragging about what he did, everyone hated him. He even got beat up a few times because people were so angry at what he did. Thank you for watching. Tell me which one was your favorite. Like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more. The next video will be even more interesting. You are a legend.